Welcome to Burn the Ship, the podcast that helps entrepreneurs go all in on their business, and we introduce them to professionals that can help them to do so. Today, we have a very special guest. Megan, how are you doing today?
I'm well. How are you, Roderick?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much. Please introduce yourself in the name of your business.
I am Megan Vaughan, and I own Elite Promotional Solutions in Tuttle,
Awesome.
Oklahoma.
Say it one more time. What was that last part?
Out here in Tuttle, Oklahoma.
Tuttle, Oklahoma. Man, we so look forward to learning more about your business. But before that, we want to learn a little bit more about your journey. And we understand that time is one of our most valuable resources. So let's jump in it and tell us a little bit about your story, Megan.
All right. So entrepreneurship, it was not something that was really on my radar at the time when it started. I have a history. I bartended when my kids were small so I could be home with them instead of childcare. And I loved it. It was great to have that time with my kids, but obviously they started school. I went into the corporate world and ended up being recruited to work for a company doing the promotional product distribution, and I thoroughly loved the job. I thoroughly loved everything about it, and I knew it was something that I really wanted to do. I was at the company for 2 years, and there, the company is no longer. It is actually transitioned from what I did to a different kind of company, and I was let go, which was devastating at the time. I had actually closed on my house a week before, and my dad was terminal at the time, and I just felt in my heart that I couldn't go back to the corporate world, so I decided to start my own business, and I've been winging it since.
Gotcha. Now let's step back a little bit, and because marketing is one of those things where you have to be a creative person. Is it where when you were starting off your career, let's say you were finishing up school, is it where you've always had an interest in being a creative, or was this something that was placed in front of you? Tell us a little bit about that.
It was more so placed in front of me. I had actually, I was recruited for the job by somebody that I was really, really close to and kind of held upon a pedestal. And since that didn't work out the way we had intended, everything kind of went south from there. And it really wasn't anything I had intentions of going for in my life at all.
Okay. But you made some adjustments. You said you had to make adjustments before when you had the kids and you wanted to spend a little bit more time with them. What was that time period? And tell us about how that experience of being a bartender has helped you to get to where you are now. Tell us a little bit about that journey.
Well, I still actually do some on the side, but I was a bartender from my 21st birthday up until I believe I was 33 when I finally quit. And it was great. I got to have my small kids at home with me, and I knew where they were at. I wasn't paying someone else to raise my kids during the day. And so that was really, really important to me because my children are my legacy, and they're the most important thing that I have, the most important asset in my life. And from there, I just really loved bartending. I loved talking to the people there, and I do believe that that helped me get to know people and how to talk to people better. You know, you can talk professionally, but you can also talk on different levels. And there's things that are appropriate, not appropriate, and you really learn how to feel out people. And I think after all those years serving people, I really learned how to talk to people better.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I was talking to one of my sales reps just yesterday about the importance of finding opportunities in different places. And I was telling him, you never would guess this, but I have made the most money at the bar because it's one of those things where the guard is down just a little bit. It's not a true business setting, but you're able to let those conversations flow a little bit better. And it is such a magnificent place to find opportunities. That's why I wanted to get your take on it, because if you were there for a little bit more of a decade, you know that scenario that I'm talking about. And I wanted to share how that helped your foundation. Now, on a personal note, let's just say I pull up to your bar. What's that best drink that you make?
Oh, well, actually, one of my regulars called it a Bloody Megan.
Okay.
It was a Bloody Mary, but I had my own twist on it, and it was delicious.
Okay. Is it spicy?
It was spicy, and I would take the au jus from prime rib
Okay.
and put that in there. So it was just a little different. It was
Gotcha.
pretty good.
Gotcha. Last question on that. Is it okra in it?
There's not.
Okay, okay, okay. Just checking to see. We went to New Orleans a couple of years back, and there were all kind of stuff inside of those Bloody Marys. Just wanted to see what your take on it was.
Ours didn't have it. If we would have had it, I would have done
Okay, nice, nice,
it.
nice. So you said that, you were doing the bartending opportunity to take care of the kids. Kids have gotten a little bit older. You moved into a situation where it was kind of teed up for you on the marketing, but it didn't work out. Now, you've had experience in marketing, you have experience in bartending, and there's so many other things that you could have done, but you decided to go ahead into business for yourself. Megan, was there an event that happened that made you burn the ship and go all in on your current business now?
I would say there's probably a few events that led up. It was the perfect storm. We all lived through 2020 and COVID, and I worked for a Fortune 500 company at the time, and I knew that that place was not for me. I wasn't happy there, and that was whenever I had found the promotional product distribution job,
Mm-hmm.
or I was recruited for it, and I was like, you know what? Anything to get me out of here. I do not love this. I hate it. I'm miserable. It wasn't for me, and they were so authoritarian with everything that I wasn't I wasn't sure I could go back to that kind of world. So after I was terminated from my previous employment, I really thought about it, not very long and hard. The next day I pulled my LLC, but I talked to my husband a little bit and I was just like, I don't think I can go back to working for somebody else that's going to be that strict with everything I do and micromanage every single thing that I do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have it in me. And so we decided that this was the route we were going to take, and it was high risk. We had just closed on a house the week before.
Yeah, that is a big challenge that was set in front of you, but you know what you did? You stepped off the curb and you went ahead and got out there, and now you're on your own trek. Now, tell us a little bit more about Elite and what it is that you guys do there.
So I do promotional product distribution, and it's any kind of branded merchandise that you can imagine. And I work with all kinds of companies. I actually work with an NBA basketball team, and then I work with, wedding parties even. People want gifts for their bridal party or their grooms or wedding favors, the trade show giveaways, anything from little items to big items, custom, anything you can dream of. And I really love doing it. A lot of what I do is I consult for one of my customers and I help them find the ideas. A lot of people come to me with the ideas of what they want, and then some just come to me and they're like, hey, this is my budget. I need 700 of these. What do you got?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll just send them lists of things that I can find and what I can think of that would fit the demographic or the end user and go from there. And I thoroughly enjoy 98% of it.
Well, we won't talk about that 2%, but I do want to ask, what would you say is the most unique thing that you've put a logo or some marketing on?
Oh man, that would be a little bit crazy.
Don't know.
Everything is a little bit unique.
Okay.
So some of it would probably not be appropriate to really even talk about. There's been
Understand.
stress balls that were not. Yeah,
I got you. I got you. Well, so what you're saying is, if you can think of it, then you can make it happen. Would that be a true statement?
that would be very accurate.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Now, as we are going through this particular process and we're learning a little bit more about your business, I wanted to talk about some of those KPIs or some of those things that make you a little bit different than the other promotional products providers that are out there. Tell us a little bit about what makes you different and why we should reach out to you for service.
Well, I think that I'm not owned by anyone and I'm not corporate, so I'm able to go out different avenues and not follow anybody else's standards. And I do shop for my customers like I'm spending my own money. Sometimes that is a curse because I'm like, man, I could have made a lot more doing this, but I really care about my customers and I'm not
Mhm.
here to just make millions. I'm here to support my family and give back and to just keep cultivating the world and make it a better place. And so if I'm able to do that by helping out some people and doing things better, I love that I'm able to help others out with their needs. And I don't try to just price gouge everybody. And I do try to price match and I try all those things and I do to the best of my abilities, but I do have to stay in business. So it's a challenge to find the balance, but I really truly try to put myself in my my customers' shoes or my clients' shoes and try to give them the best options available, the best output, and deliver the kind of service that I want.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Having empathy for the client and trying to see it from their perspective instead of yours is a great way of going about the business. You've been going now almost 3 years or so now. Tell us a little bit about how a newer business you've been able to grow your market share. Is it where you've done it through networking or have you done it through word of mouth? Tell us a little bit about how you've been able to grow and keep going.
A lot of networking and word of mouth. I will be completely honest, I'm not a great salesperson. It is not my strong suit. So the chamber has been a great tool to use, and I'm a member of several chambers that are local. Since we're very rural, we actually have a tri-chamber alliance. So the three neighboring towns all get together. And then I also am in a BNI group. So I do a lot of networking through that, and that's been very beneficial for me as well. And it's really, I know a lot of people and I've done it for long enough. Even with my previous employer, I had clients there that I worked with. And when I started my own, I did reach out, not trying to steal from the other business. There's room for all of us to eat, but that's who I worked with. So I'm going to talk to them.
Makes a lot of sense. And I know a little bit about Giver's Gain also. Tell us a little bit about your referral sphere. Tell us about some of those referral partners that you work well with so we can try to introduce you to them.
Really, just any kind of businesses that need marketing, that need promotional products. So I always tell people, you want to leave something tangible. Business cards are often getting lost at the bottom of a purse, or you have a stack of them and you can't differentiate. Why not do something that's tangible and going to stick out, that's useful, and they're not just going to throw it in the trash when they're cleaning out their bag? So that's one of my more selling points, sticking points with that.
Yeah, no worries at all. And I'm sure that over your time, your journey in itself, your time in corporate, the time as a bartender, and now as a business owner, you have acquired and nurtured some business skills or best practices that have helped you to be successful. Do you mind sharing with the audience a couple of those?
I mean, really, it's all common sense. Work your hardest, be honest, be transparent, and just work hard. It's the same thing my dad said, and I know that the world's changed a lot, but those standards are still there.
Yeah, those things can definitely help you to stick out simply just doing what you say. You're crazy how easy that separates you from others. Just, having people to trust in what it is that you say. So I definitely appreciate you sharing that. Now we want to talk a little bit more about Megan herself. We've talked a lot about your journey in the business and those business skills. Let's just say the business is continuing to flow. You have promotional pieces out there for all of the people. Time and money is not an issue at all. What is it that Megan would do with her time?
I would have a homestead and I would give back as much as I could. I love to volunteer and serve the church, and I love to help the community. I am part of OHCE, which is Oklahoma Home and Community Education.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nonprofit, and what we do is the Titus II model, the elderly teaching the young, and we raise funds all year to send out Operation Christmas Child boxes. And I thoroughly love it, and I thoroughly enjoy it. It's been a great thing. I love learning all the things, and that's the homesteading comes in. I love to can things and grow all my own food, and I have chickens, and I love all of it. And I would love to make that my whole lifestyle, but obviously we have to make a living as well.
Mm-hmm.
So here I am.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Now, when you talk about that canning, what's those vegetables or things that you like to grow to can? What's one of your favorite things?
My favorite thing that I've canned so far is pepper jelly. That I grew the peppers and the strawberries from my garden.
Mm-hmm.
I did a ton of pickles, which all different kinds, okra, all of the fun things. I'm trying to think. There's been some fermented foods too, cabbage and carrots, things like that. But I really just enjoy to preserve my own food, to grow my own food. I'm considering growing wheat and milling my own wheat this year.
Okay.
So
Okay. Hey, nothing wrong with being self-sufficient all the way. At least the kids and the family have food that has not been extra produced, something that came naturally out of the ground. What pushed you towards that? Was it just because you're out in that rural area, or is that just something you've always had as a check mark?
I haven't necessarily always had as a check mark. I didn't grow up with that lifestyle. I would have loved it, but I did have extended family that did kind of live that lifestyle, and I always was a little bit envious. My husband's always been very supportive. So once we were looking to build this house that we're in now, um, we were looking for a place with enough property for me to have, my chickens and to have a big garden and build a greenhouse and do those things because it's hopefully our forever home. And I
Hmm.
hope we're there long term. So we want to have those things that we enjoy because I hope to not work for till every day of my life. I would
Hmm.
like to enjoy some of it. And I love whenever it's nice outside and I can go sit outside in the garden and just have that peace.
Yes, yes, yes. Nothing wrong with that. Thank you so much sharing that aspect about your business. We believe it's always important for them to understand, yes, you're a magnificent business owner, but there are some whys wrapped around what you're doing, and we definitely appreciate you sharing that. Now, if someone that's watching today has questions about your business, your journey, your story, what's the best way for them to get in contact with you?
My email would be the best way just because it's the easiest for me to track. I know that there's social media that you can message me on, and I try to get maintain that as best I can, but those inboxes get crazy.
Hmm.
And there's a lot of spam that goes through there. So I do truly prefer emails to come to me. And I phone if anybody wants to call. I do have a website, but it is just kind of a catalog. You don't
Hmm.
order from there. Everything that I do is custom. So I do have to actually price it and do it for you. And that's really it. I email me. Tell me
Okay.
what you want.
That's a good deal. Hey, listen, she's open to try to help you guys. So please reach out to Megan so that way she can try to get those promotional items and those needs served. Now, we definitely appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing with us. It's not always easy to share those ups, downs, and all around. So we always honor our guest by giving them the last word. So, Megan, please look into the camera and tell the people something good.
Business opportunities are like buses. There's always another one coming.
Nice, nice. I love that because if you're not paying attention, you might miss the bus. Thank you so much for coming on the show today, Megan.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And to everyone that is watching, be kind and thanks.